And Shalom, his brother Yasha Mazakar from the Israelite Report. Israelitereport.com. Upon my watch, all praises are definitely due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi. Peace and blessings to all the brothers spread across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth and sincerity, those that truly believe and want to get the hell up out of here. Right quick, I'm going to go ahead and get Romans 14 and 5, I believe. Yeah, Romans 14 and 5, it says, one man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind, because at the end of the day, oh man, that's my wife's favorite new saying. At the end of the day, you have to be persuaded in your own mind, and you have to walk this walk, okay? Knowing that it's you that's going to be tested and tried. All right. Ecclesiasticus 39 and 1, it says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in meditation, in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies. All right. And that's what where we're at right now. That's where our mindset should be. Being occupied in prophecy, watching and praying. Because the whole world is about to go absolutely apeshit, bonkers. This is crash out season, in case you haven't noticed. Jake is crashing out. These Edomites are crashing out. Everyone's losing their goddamn mind. China's threatening the U.S. Everybody's just like on edge. Matter of fact, I'm sorry, before I get into the news or whatever, a quick little testimony. I was at the store the other day doing a little bit of grocery shopping. And when I walked in, I wasn't really paying attention like I should. And this is why you should keep your head on a swivel. I went to go grab a grocery cart. And when I turned around, this nigga was standing in front of me talking about, oh, you just gonna bump into me and not apologize? And I was like, huh? And it took me a second for, the process, right? So the nigga was like, yeah, you bumped into me, yada, yada, right? So I'm like, I didn't even see you when I came in here, right? So that's my first thought. But then as time went on, I kind of got it, right? Like as he kept talking, I started to pick up on it. Oh, this nigga's he's not right in the head. So sure as shit. Later on, I saw him walking through the store, just fucking with people. He was legit crazy. And, he was basically accusing everybody of bumping into him. Everybody that he saw, in every aisle, he accused them of bumping into him. And I was just kind of like, yeah, my man ain't in his, he's not in his right mind. But I'm saying that to say this, brothers, be mindful that you have these spirits out here. All right. And, there's a lot of crazies out here. You have to remember, a lot of people in general, a lot of people are hooked up on all types of meds. Somebody might have sold them or rolled them a hot blunt. You know, I know somebody that got effed up off of that. You know, they used to smoke weed a lot, and somebody gave them some shit that was laced, and then they're fried. And then on top of that, a lot of people took that, the shot back in 2021. And a lot of people just aren't right in the head. And consider the fact that a lot of people are on edge. Okay? So I will get Matthew 5:25. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. So just be mindful of that. You don't have to get into an argument with everybody. You don't even have to react to every little single thing. Now, if I can do it, I know you can do it. Because people that know me know how I used to be. Because I told you what my two, biggest hangups were. It's my anger and my patience. Because I just wanted to put that out there because, these people, excuse me, they're not right in the mind, and, they're kind of like spaced out, and they could be looking at you, and you could remind them of someone that they know or once knew. They could be looking at you and thinking you're somebody from their past. Now here you are arguing with them, ready to go blow to blow with them, and not even understanding that this person ain't right in the head. So just be mindful of that. And that's why it's important to stay occupied in prophecy, because that helps you. Because the Lord said this would happen. The love of many would wax cold. Now, if you have to defend yourself by all means. But if you can just let that person be, let them go on about their way. Because the end is too close to be getting caught up in some bullshit. I do have this clip I want to get pertaining to ICE, and this is something I didn't consider. I must admit that. But this man who appears to be an Edomite, this is what he said. He's basically claiming that ICE, all of these agencies will fall under ICE. And I'm not going to delay it any further. I'm going to go ahead and play the clip, and you'll see why I felt like this clip was kind of important. It's a different take, different from anybody else I've heard. I've heard a lot of theories, but this one's kind of different. So I'm going to go ahead and play it, and then I'll come back and comment on it.
I believe ICE is going to be a unified agency in this country. And what I mean by unified, I mean that all the other agencies, CIA, FBI, DOD, whatever you may be, will be ICE. ICE is already committing acts beyond their jurisdiction, but this would only make sense if they're working with national security. National security can only be enacted if we are being threatened by a T group, foreign or domestic. When I mean by T group, I'm pretty sure you guys already know what I mean by that. ICE is going after non-combatants. That means people that cannot really fight them back. So why is it that we're using this much funding, this much pressure against people that are non-combatants? This is obviously a show of force of what's to come. They may even change their name. It wouldn't even be ICE anymore. It's going to be a new force in this country, under Donald Trump's rule, by the way, to subvert the people. I've already said this in my last video. They're going to use Palantir and Pegasus surveillance to track who you follow, who you like. If you're against ICE, if you're anti-Semitic, they will find you through ICE's systems and detain you. I know people call them Gestapo and all that other stuff, but it's much worse than this. This is the army of the beast. Think about it. How is ICE getting paid, but the National Guard is not getting paid when they're working next to ICE? They are going to keep throwing these incentives, $50,000, large amounts of pay, to then join ICE. So when you have a lot of law enforcement, whether you are in the armed forces, National Guard, FBI, whoever you may be, will join ICE. FBI is not even getting paid. Does that make sense? The NSA is not even getting paid because the government is shut down. But ICE is getting paid. The only agency getting paid is ICE. But every other agency is not getting paid. Really, guys? This is why I believe all agencies will fall under ICE. And then it will be called a new name under Trump's banner.
Now, as you heard in that clip, what he was saying is that pretty much all of these agencies will fall under ICE because they're not being paid. Now, one would have to wonder, is that the true reason for the government shutdown? And he was saying, this is what he's claiming, not what I'm claiming, that all of these other agencies, even the NSA, I believe he said, they're not being paid. So it would like force these other agencies to fall under ICE. So he's saying that ICE will become, it'll be like a new agency with a new name. And we know Trump he's known for changing shit, changing names, like he did with the DOD. It was the Department of Defense, and now it's the Department of War again. You see what he's doing to the East Wing of the White House. He's destroying that and building up some new ballroom. Now, you might say, why is that important? It's important because if you haven't been paying attention, well, I'll tell you this. In Washington, D.C., what Trump did was he basically, shut down the local police and made them answer to the feds. He made it all federal. And he's trying to do the same thing across the United States of America. So as crazy as this must sound for a lot of people, it's not that far-fetched for Trump. Now, he also mentioned in this clip that this is a show of force, meaning the way ICE is acting and the way they are arresting people who are non-combatant, people that are not violent or show no history of violence. They're showing what they would call a show of force, and it's a prelude of things to come. In other words, they are normalizing agents, whatever they may be called, busting into people's homes and dragging them out. They're normalizing it, getting you used to that, to the point where it doesn't even bother you anymore. And he said in the clip, this is a show of force for things to come. It's the normalization of troops storming into your house or your neighbor's home and dragging you or them out. Look at the way people react to what's happening with ICE as opposed to how they reacted when they first started. To a certain degree, you can say the people have already gotten used to that. Now, how do the men of the Lord fit into that? Think. They already hate you. Once they slap that terrorist tag on the Israelites, you know how people are. People are going to say, well, they did say some harsh things. They did talk about the destruction of America, even though we're speaking from a biblical standpoint. Plus, we are at odds with the government. They're going to accuse us of sedition easily. You do have these guys with the purple garments on marching around, disturbing churchgoers. That's really happening. They're going to put us all in the same category. You got ISUPK at the training grounds, some at the shooting range. But back to the point that he's making is that ICE could be dissolved, or it could become something under a new, under a new name, right? A new branding, which brings all of these different agencies under that one umbrella. Keep in mind, the ICE agents that are out here, you've seen how violent they are, how heartless, how merciless they really are. And he also mentioned national security getting involved. And he was basically saying that national security can only be enacted if there's like a terrorist threat by a terrorist group. He said T word, but I'm saying the word terrorist. So it sounds like he's thinking how I'm thinking. What have I been saying? One false flag. We're one false flag away. People don't understand. This is not as times of old. Okay, this ain't 15 years ago. No, we're one false flag. We've seen many false flags over the past 25 years. The difference between now and then is this president already has the National Guard and these troops in place. ICE is already everywhere. They're already in place. So a false flag now is different from how it would have been. This won't be a response situation. And speaking of response, Trump is he has something called a quick response force. And that means that as soon as there's any threat or a false flag, if it happens, they on site. And this shit could get shut down just that fast. That's why I keep saying this over and over again. This shit could happen at any moment. Shit could get shut down at any moment. This isn't 20 years from now, 15 years from now. Nigga, we're not in that time. We're not in the time for donations to your Cash App. You know, support my Hebrew Israelite debate league. Right? Because everybody's got a debate league or some shit going on. This really ain't the time for that. You know, donate to my Cash App so I can fly over fly all over the U.S. and debate different people. That we ain't in the time for that. This shit could get shut down at any moment. I mean, it could happen next week. It's really like that. But a dumbass nigger will hear that and say, y'all Shamar said it's going to get shut down next week. I didn't say that. I'm saying we're in the times where you have to move like that could happen at any moment. Because it really could. I want to get this in Revelations 3 and 10. Real simple, real quick, to straight to the point. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation. Because when these things happen, the mark of the beast is coming right after it. These false flags are leading up to the mark of the beast. These shutdowns, starving the people out, making the people submit to the government and this digital ID. Everybody's talking about the UK and this digital ID. That's all a prelude, a precursor to the mark of the beast, the microchip. So it's not going to be like, oh, shit just happened, major false flag, and then shit goes back to normal. No. The mark of the beast follows that. That microchip, the mandation, making the microchip mandatory, that follows that. What a lot of people don't quite get and don't understand is that they're done with the testing mode. Okay? Elon Musk already has the Neuralink tested. The Pentagon already has this health monitor, this implantable health monitor under your skin. It's already tested. They already have the digital currency tested. Bitcoin has been out for about 10 years now, for a whole decade. They already know how to work the digital currency system and manipulate it. All that stuff's been tested already. All of that's going to be a part of the mark of the beast, the microchip. So you're not going to be just in a situation where, there's this big false flag and you're just looking at it and going, oh shit, look what happened. No, when this big false flag happens, understand, that's that time. Okay? And you won't have Yashamar to cuss out anymore or talk shit about. Some dude said I was a miserable fuck. Yeah, you're right. I am miserable. I love not my life unto the death. I hate this fucking place. So you're right on that. Revelation 3 and 10, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast. Hold that fast, thou which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Consider the times that you're in. And know that you will be tested. There is an hour of temptation, great tribulation, and persecution, false accusations. The same way ICE is snatching up all the Latinos they see, even if they're legally here, and saying, well, you have documentation to prove that you're legally here, but we feel you're illegal. So therefore you're illegal. Congratulations. You get to go to Alligator Island. You get to get sent away somewhere. And they don't give a shit if they send you to the country from where you came from. You might say, well, I'm Mexican. Congratulations, you're going to El Salvador, and vice versa. And the same thing is going to be said for us Israelites that truly believe. You might say, well, I wasn't a part of IUIC. Well, congratulations. We put IUIC on the terrorist watch list right next to Antifa. And guess what? You watch Israelites videos, you like Israelite videos, and they talked about death to America, the destruction of America. You might be saying, but that's in the Bible. Well, congratulations. We sought you out by way of Palantir. And our artificial intelligence technology that we created has deemed you to be a threat to national security. Now, I want to go back to this SNAP benefits thing again. I tried to stay away from it, but I did get some interesting posts on it. I'm going to get this one right quick. I got another one from Alex Jones that kind of surprised me. Stick around for that one. But this is from some guy named Mike Davis. And this is what he said. He says, we should only help people who can't help themselves. It's outrageous that 40 million people get food stamps. And this is what he says, get off your fat ghetto asses, get a job, stop reproducing, change your shitty culture. And he's talking about black folk. You know he talking about black folk. Because according to Esau, white folks ain't on food stamps. White folks don't receive SNAP benefits or EBT. He said, get off your fat ghetto asses, get a job, stop reproducing, change your shitty culture. I have to agree with them. Black people do have a shitty culture. But he says, stop giving food stamps to immigrants. It says, we don't want you here if you won't work. Now, the irony behind that is a lot of the immigrants that they've been snatching up, arresting and deporting, they're people that work. But Esau is all over the place. But someone replied to his comment and said, Republicans appear to have more individuals on SNAP when considering the per capita participation rates and the distribution of recipients across Republican-leaning states. And then he go on to list them: West Virginia, Mississippi, Kentucky. So anyway, that's the mindset of Esau. You niggers are a bunch of fat, non-working, reproducing, welfare collecting monkeys. That's what he really wanted to say. I'll explain it in Esau terms. That's what he was really saying. I've been around these crackers. I know how they really talk. But this one got me. Alex Jones posted on X, President Trump must immediately have an emergency address to the nation. I said, okay, what is this? What is this about, right? And this is what he says. He needs to have an emergency address to the nation and call on Americans who have the means to make massive donations to food banks across the nation ahead of the Democrats cutting off EBT slash SNAP benefits to stop the deep state's plan for civil war. I said, huh. Well, that's interesting. Because all these crackers are complaining about niggers being on welfare, receiving benefits. And when they say niggers, they're talking about you Hispanics too. Trust me. Believe me. But I thought that was interesting. He's talking about having, uh, you know, a massive, food drive. Basically, he's saying, but he's this is his words. Call on Americans who have the means to make massive donations to food banks across the nation. And I said, what is that about? And then I thought about it and I said, oh shit. See, Alex Jones is in the know. He's an insider. And he knows when they cut them SNAP benefits, that's going to hurt a lot of these Edomites because Edomites are retarded. I'm always talking about Jake because Jake is stupid. But Edomites are equally retarded. Their retardation is hidden more. It's more protected because the media doesn't show their retardation. As a matter of fact, someone did a little test run on these Edomites, a little test study. They were asking, what do they prefer more, Obamacare or affordable health care, which is, the Affordable Care Act. And the Edomites will say, well, I prefer the Affordable Care Act because Obamacare is just, it's not good. And he didn't tell them that the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare is the exact same thing. It's called the Affordable Care Act, but it was nicknamed Obamacare. See, these Edomites were just mad because they felt like a nigger had created something. They weren't even mad at the plan. They were mad at the fact that a nigger created it. So calling it Obamacare was enough to piss them off. But I'm looking at this post from Alex Jones, and I thought to myself, this guy knows that if SNAP benefits get cut, these white folk that are receiving these benefits are going to be fucked. He can't come out and say it like that because it would destroy the narrative that only black folk receive SNAP benefits. Okay? This is him trying to, because you got to remember he's pro-Trump, right? He's Team Trump. He knows that if this happens and these poor white folk get cut, That's the end of Trump's support. Because white folk, look, I'm telling you, it sounds stupid because they are stupid. These crackers are retarded. I'm telling you. These poor white crackers, they really fucking retarded. I know. I lived amongst them in Idaho. I'm telling you, they're fucking stupid. He knows that they don't know that cutting off the SNAP benefits isn't just going to affect black people. It's going to affect poor white people too. They don't know that. That's why I gave the example about the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare and them not understanding that because they're really fucking retarded. I've seen some of the nastiest, trashy people in my life when I was in Idaho. I was a military police officer in that area, and there's trailer parks and just white trash. And I'm telling you, there are some nasty, disgusting, uneducated, stupid motherfuckers. They don't know their ass from a fucking hole in the wall. The difference between them and us is that our people, the stupid of our people, are on full display by the white man's media. They can't wait to put their microphone and their camera in front of a nigger that can't speak. A nigger that can't speak English properly or, just uneducated and doesn't know what he's talking about. But they hide these stupid crackers, these stupid white folk. Okay? That's how this game is played. Alex Jones knows this. He's a Texan. He knows damn well, and I lived in Texas for a hot minute too. He knows that when these benefits get cut, a lot of white folk gonna go hungry. Trump already fucked up with the farmers. I don't mean to get too political, but this is my field of expertise, if you will. He already messed up with the farmers. This right here, this is what Alex Jones is thinking. I'm telling you what this man is thinking right now. He's trying to save Trump's ass and his own ass because he supported him. This isn't Alex Jones trying to help people. He tried to twist it and say, well, we need to have these massive donations to food banks across the nation ahead of the Democrats cutting off EBT SNAP benefits to stop the deep state's plan for civil war. This is going to fall on Trump. You can make the argument that, the Democrats are holding things up. They're holding up progress. They won't reopen the government. That's fine and dandy. But this is going to fall on Trump. Everything always falls on the president, whether it's his fault or not. And he knows this. So going back, sorry, y'all. I know I'm kind of like going on about this, but going back to that original post I read from this guy, Mike Davis. See, he's one of these Edomites that don't get it. He writes, we should only help people who can't be helped themselves. It's outrageous 40 million people get food stamps. See, in his mind, the 40 million people are niggers. I'm using him as an example. And then he continues to write, get off your fat ghetto asses, which confirms that he believes that the only people on food stamps, or what they would call SNAP, EBT, are niggers. He doesn't see this is going to hurt his people, but they're going to fuck around and find out. And I'm hoping they find out. Oh, I'm going to have a lot of shit to say. I'll be waiting for shit like this to happen, by the way. Get off your fat ghetto asses and get a job. Stop reproducing. Change your shitty culture. The crackers culture is just as shitty as Jake's culture. It's just their fucked up culture doesn't get broadcasted the way ours does.
See, I say this very much. I'm not speaking to anybody but them right now. I would love to receive calls from governors and mayors saying they need help. We'll help them. We have a lot of people. We have a great force. We have a great military force. You know, Pete will tell you that when I was running for office.
Boom. So I'm going to explain the play. Shut down the government. Now he can declare martial law. That's first. Stop benefits. Cut off certain things and services. Put people online and make them social propagandists to encourage people to go out and riot and steal. Then when people are hungry and desperate, they will riot and steal, and then they will be just eat. You can just tweet. The governor of so-and-so tweeted, "President, we need help." Boom. Okay, we're going to send the military to this state. We're going to send the military to this state. We're going to send the military here. And eventually it's like, well, since so many people have just declared that they need help due to the protests and riots, we are going to declare full martial law. That's the play. The stock market crashes. The crypto market crashes. Everything happens. And no, okay, now we need digital IDs so we can track people. We need a social credit system so that we know what's going on. We need to revitalize the economy, so we're going to stop using the dollar and start using the new American digital dollar. It's in game. It's in game.
Speaking of data, this came from the Shadows of Ezra. I had a clip, but I'm not going to play it. It says Jamaica is moving toward becoming a UN-backed smart city under its Vision 2030, which we know Vision 2030 is nothing but another version of Agenda 2030. In Jamaica, they're calling it Vision 2030. It says a smart city under its Vision 2030 development plan, a long-term blueprint running from 2009 to 2030 that aims to make the island the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The initiative integrates artificial intelligence, central bank digital currencies, and carbon pricing policies. You will own nothing and be happy. So they're using Jamaica with this Hurricane Melissa. They're using Jamaica as a blueprint, a testing ground and a blueprint for what's to come to the U.S. Remember, Trump kept saying the calm before the storm. And they said, well, what storm, Mr. President? Well, who knows? with their heart programs, their weather machines, the way they are able to manipulate the weather because the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. Esau has this technology. Okay? Someone wrote this in a reply. Vision 2030 turns sovereignty into a pilot project for global governance. Global governance meaning a new world order, a one government system. That's the ultimate goal of Esau Edom. To have the whole world in subjection under one government, because they want to be God. They want to be the Most High. It says when every transaction, breath, and emission gets logged by AI, artificial intelligence, paradise turns into a monitored plantation with Wi-Fi, a digital prison planet. That's what Alex Jones is always talking about, a prison planet. Esau is trying to turn this into a digital prison planet. That goes into the mark of the beast. Now you see why we always go into that. You will not be able to buy or sell or even really travel because with these 15-minute cities, these smart cities as they call them, you're going to need permission to go from one city to the other. Remember, one man will desire to go into a city and will not be able. Someone else wrote this in a reply. Oh, look. Another area being demolished by natural disaster just in time to rebuild a smart city. And I have another post here. Someone wrote this. I'm trying to make this as fast as possible. So Salakia, if I'm moving too quick. Someone wrote this. The smart city hurricane, Jamaica's category 5 reset exposed. It says officials launched Vision 2030, a UN-backed plan, the UN, the United Nations, backed plan to turn Kingston into a fully digital smart city, and now the island is being torn apart by Hurricane Melissa with 185 miles per hour winds. Meteorologists, excuse me, that's a tongue twister. Meteorologists called it unreal, and they said maybe because it is unreal. It says a storm this precise hitting as Jamaica shifts to AI infrastructure, biometrics, IDs, and centralized grids feels less like coincidence and more like collaboration. Old Jamaica erased, new Jamaica connected, surveilled, compliant. The timing isn't a coincidence, it's a blueprint. That's what I'm trying to get across. It's a blueprint. The same way China has been the blueprint for the New World Order with their facial recognition, social credit scores. It's the same thing. Now what they're doing with Jamaica, They're going to make that the island of the smart city. Everyone's going to look at Jamaica and say, oh, look at the progress. Look at what they were able to do and look at what they were able to build. Meanwhile, they're in a digital prison grid. And right quick, I want to get this, since it's on my mind. I do want to get this in Isaiah 32:5. It says, the vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against the Lord. Because that's really who they're coming up against. They're coming up against the Lord's people, the children of Israel, because they're really coming up against the Lord. And that's what Esau has in his heart. That's why he's doing what he's doing to Jamaica. Those are Israelites. You see? It says to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. Remember Hurricane Katrina? He knew what he was doing. He knew who he was attacking. All those black folk forced into that stadium. It was the Superdome back then. I believe I can't remember. I believe they changed the name. But they always use Jake as a test study. For every goal, for every agenda, they always use Jake as a test study. And when it comes to this smart city, this 15-minute city agenda that they have rolled out, they want to use their weather machines to jack up Jamaica, build it back up, and see how that goes. And you're going to see the same thing here in America. All right? You're going to see the same thing. This is why you have to put your faith, your trust in the Lord, and not in these politicians, not in your favorite celebrity, because they cannot help you in that day. The Lord is going to preserve and protect his elect. You have to believe that in order to make it out of here. Psalms 91:8, it says, only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. There's a lot of wicked niggas in Jamaica. Rastafari. Believing in Haile Selassie. Them niggas is about to see some judgment. It says in the 9th verse, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. So you're believing for yourself your wife, your children. It's a lonely journey. It's a lonely walk, but you must walk it. If you believe you are one of the elect, and if you've gone through tests and trials before, you have to believe that the Lord is going to be with you. You have to believe it. Faith is a gift. The just shall live by his faith. It says, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee. Don't you think those Jamaicans wish they had angels around them to protect them in this hour? For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shall thou trample under feet. The Lord is going to give us spiritual power. Give his angels charge over his men, his elect, those that truly believe and are depending on him, those that have forsaken this world. You have to believe that in these times that we're coming in. The 14th verse says, because he set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he have known my name. And this is why Bishop Nathaniel makes mockery of the name, because he was told to do so. He took money to disrespect the name of the Lord. And I'm telling you, in his name, the Bible tells you, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and are safe. This is our safety zone.